Good afternoon. Oh, wow, that was a crash and a bang, wasn't it? Good afternoon, folks. This is episode 3 of the production vlog. Welcome back. I haven't had a chance to look at comments yet, but I will, and I will answer in the next video anything from the last two videos that I've done, any comments or questions or etc. etc. The reason is because I'm actually filming 2 in a row and trying to speed things up a bit and also give you more content. But at the same time, it probably means I might have to, like I just said, comment every 2 or 3. So please be patient if you are going to comment, and I will get back to you. So we're back where we left off. What did we do last session? So it was mainly looking at filter sweeps. It was looking at some samplers slightly. A bit of organisational work with the arrangement here. A bit of quirkiness going on with the key of the track, which decided to go down a tone, then up a tone again. I imagine that was something to do with the sample rate there. Anyway, let's see what's okay, it seems to be an F sharp still. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. If it was a problem, then we could have troubleshooted it together, and it would have probably been a case of the sample rate, I imagine. Nevertheless, there's no point going into that because it's cured itself. There's no point at all. And we're not dealing with the hypothetic. Today's going to be much more just getting in there and being very impulsive about making decisions and trying to work quite quickly. And I'm just going to spend the next half an hour actually just really going for it a bit and trying to get in the zone. Sometimes you just can't get in the zone. And when you're in that zone, there's probably no point producing. You might as well just sit and listen to a Sophie Ellis-Bextor track or something. Try and get some inspiration. I don't know why her. Could have been anything. I suppose Murder on the Dance Floor is a good song. So I'm just sort of limbering myself up because I really want to try and get amongst it, get amongst the track, and see where I can go with it. Because I feel like I have a staple here. I've got my beat and I've got my synth that I'm generally happy with. Like I said, I might carve the sound. So this is going to be very impulsive. This is going to be me just sort of being quite fast with my thinking and my decisions and with my workflow here on Logic as well. So if you see me moving fast and whatever, then keep your eyes peeled because I want to try and make some progress today while still keeping you on the journey. And hopefully as well, if I work fast, then it sort of gives you more of an idea of how I'm impulsively thinking in the creative mindset rather than the technical mindset. And maybe that's something that's overlooked a bit as a producer or a musician, is that you don't, we're so sort of geared or structured towards technology that we make decisions technically rather than artistically. And today I want to just try and go, right, well, I'm just going to be quick and just smash through it and not worry too much about sound or plug-in, or just want to get the information of the song, the music of the song, the storytelling, the milestones of what I want people to hear and what I don't want them to hear, and how I want to kind of tease them into this musical eargasm. If you can make yourself laugh, then you're halfway there. So I'm going to make some eargasmic music for you. Hell yeah, let's do that. Right, here we go then. I'm going to sort of ignore your ear for a bit and just do some work, and I'll talk as I go along without being too technical. Okay, there's 2 things I might do here. I might completely duck this because it's introduced itself so much. However, there is a change of chord there. So that's kind of making me feel like, I could keep that chord in. I could just slightly change the frequency of it. Let's do that to start with. Can I create excitement by just creating a slight, really quick filter change, EQ change? don't think it's going to be using a low pass, a high pass filter. It might be using another filter. So if I double filter this and create a single EQ the other way round, rather than a, I think I got a high cut there. I'm going to chuck this at the bottom. I'm going to create another filter here. So I'm going to do a low cut one instead. Yeah, that's right. Is this recording? Yeah. Okay, low cut. That's my second EQ. So this should cut off everything. Everything below this rather than above it. And I only want it to appear here as a kind of like it's sort of just like jarred away from you a bit. It's almost like someone's just taking the marbles out of your hand for a couple of seconds. Okay, that's fine for now. I know I've got like a road mark here at least. It's not perfect yet. There's an infinite things I can do with this to make this work, but I just want to remind myself here that I want something exciting here. I want something to sort of mark the end of this section, I suppose, before the verse repeats. So let's just leave that for now. I'm not happy with it yet, but it's good that I at least have a marker in there. I'm going to come back to it. I want some finger clicks. Finger clicks are everywhere at the moment. They're bloody everywhere. And I love them. I think they sound great. And I have a little finger click sample that I use. I think it's just me clicking my fingers. And I'm going to be very lazy. I'm going to be very lazy and just find it on my search bar here. I think it's one of these. Yes, finger click too. Okay, now that's probably loaded up with my sampler somewhere, but hey ho, you can just do that. Your sampler is basically your Logic search box as well. How about that? Right, I'm going to line up the transients here. I'm pretty sure this is my click sample. I'm a bit concerned there's two transients here. But that's probably like it's probably me being very sort of flamming with my own click, but that's fine. What does the other click say? Do I want to use one or two? Yeah, the second one's a bit weaker, so I'm going to use this first click here. What was that recorded with? I imagine that was recorded with an AKG C414, which is a very nice large diaphragm mic, and it's got enough detail there for me to feel convinced that it's a nice solid click with my fingers. I'm chopping this exactly on the bar line here, just so I can loop it. Make sure I put it in the right place. Bowie. Okay, yeah, so there we go. It's going to be there. And if I want to loop it, then I'm going to have to just bounce this. So I'm going to do a very quick bounce. Okay, and the way I'm going to make sure that this works either side is I'm just going to do a quick project soloing this here. Project bounce soloing this. I'll just put it on my desktop for now. I'll clean that up later. There we go. So at least now I can loop it, and it's going to be perfectly synced to the track. Let's just do a bit of tidying up as we go along. So it looks like I'm like thinking, okay, let's get this drum beat going. I don't want too much with this drum track. I want to build very minimally and not think too much. I'm starting to think 808s now. I'm starting to think I want to get something a bit retro in there as well. It's like I've already gone for the big sound already. Do I start with a smaller sound first? Does this kick and this click, finger click come in later? Maybe I could start with just an 808. See, these are the these are the beauties of this is the beauty of decision making in indoors. Indoors, I mean, and DAW, not indoors, as in like with your houseplants. Okay, it's a bit too much low end on that click for me. The finger clicks. Yeah, so I'm just tidying up some of that click there. So I just basically just did a hard shelf low to right there, just to make it a bit more in a niche, I suppose. Panning wise at the moment, I'm not going to worry about that. I haven't got enough to really pan with. Nothing's really getting in the way at the moment either. So that's a creative decision I'll make later. I'm starting to think 808s now. I'm starting to think I've already created a big sound already with this kick. It's a very sort of, like I said, big kahunas sort of kick. Does it come in later? Does it come in for the chorus? And maybe I could loop some sort of 808 to start with, something a bit retro and undemanding, while still creating a rhythm. And sort of that's your sort of like Lego layer of rhythm. And then you've got your Meccano. What are the kids using these days that is more kind of difficult than Lego, or a bit more bigger than Lego? I don't know. Lego. We'll say Duplo then. We'll say Duplo is your 808s, and your Lego and your bigger, fuller stuff. I'm making some terrible analogies, aren't I? Your Lego, your fuller stuff is going to be the stuff I'm using here. So, do I not? Do I carry on with what I have and use other things to make a bigger sound, like some big toms and things like this? Let's have a listen. Okay, I'm happy enough with that for now. Idea came to me here. I want to create some more this is like the second half of the verse. I want to create tension from here to the end of the verse before the chorus comes in. I think this is... Yeah. So what can I do here? A dirty ES1 synth is coming to mind. I love ES1 synths. Again, I'm going stock. I haven't even opened some of the beauties I have. In terms of the third-party plugins, also I'm not using any of the reverbs or anything. I will get into that, and it will shape the sound very quickly into something more wow factor. But right now it's all about getting, like I said, the staple of the music. And I'm thinking ES1. I love this synth. It's really sort of reminds me of James Blake a bit, the way I use it, as this sort of quite aggressive sounding synth that can create a sort of very modern, automated, metropolitan sort of sound to me. That's the way I sort of interpret it. Whatever I mean by metropolitan, I don't know. It just feels very sort of like cyborgy. I don't know, what's that old film with the Metropolis? It just reminds me of Metropolis for some reason, and I love it. I've got a few presets I like that I've made myself. I think it's this one here. And I just love using the cutoff of this synth. It just seems to work really well. And I'm going to do something very similar to what I did with the first automation I did with the EQ here. I'm going to create another filter sweep, but on top I'm going to play the chords rather than the actual harmony itself. Apologise about this mic. I'm going to be back in the studio next week. I'm going to take a picture of my mic setup right now because it's sellotaped to a tripod, and the tripod is standing on a CD box. So it's all very technical here at Alex Hall HQ, but that's how we like it. We're a DIY cottage industry, and we're proud. Okay, so let's have a little look at this then. One, two. Okay, there's my chords. Right, let's going to play the chords of this, and then we'll look at the EQing afterwards. Alright, let's neaten that up a little bit. I'm trying to play my MIDI keyboard through a microphone. I think that's generally right what I played. I'm just going to tidy this up, and also I'm going to mess around with the attack and decay here as well, because I think they're kind of creating a bit of a harsh entry of the notes, like doing. So I'm going to get rid of the doing a bit. Certainly want less doing. Okay. Gonna make the velocity all the same. If I hold Command and Shift, I love this little trick here. If I hold Command and Shift, and just, Alt and Shift, and tweak the velocity slightly, then it makes every single note the same. Which is super helpful. Quantize that. That should all be in time. go. That decay sort of helped now. I think it's a bit more. Beautiful. Now you can see it's sort of slightly getting a bit muddy with the other synth. So I might have to start making creative decisions about panning or about moulding the sound of this synth so it doesn't get in the way. But the object of what I'm trying to do now is create this sort of exciting cutoff again with the synth, which I love using. And the next tool I'm going to use then is touch. Now I could use the automation again and use the cutoff on the ES1 here with the cutoff and mess around with that. Sometimes I like to sometimes I like to feel the synths, like, you know, feel it, and just being on that button and seeing how the cutoff reacts is almost the same thing really. But yeah, just sometimes I quite like to just be on the button itself and see where it's going rather than actually just putting things on a bar and guessing. So what I'm going to use a touch setting, and what that does, it will any manipulation I make to this track, it will sort of save it basically. So I'm going to play the track and use the cutoff now and see what happens. Okay, and already I can see that I've gone too fast, too soon. So I'm going to start the cutoff a bit lower down actually. I'm going to start off down here and move a bit more slowly now. Okay, that's quite a nice exponential curve I've got going on there. Well, you can't teach genius how to do things, they say, so there you go. The harmony here needs to change as well, doesn't it? Because this is the end of the verse, and this should be my chord 5 to chord 1 again. So I'm going to scrap that and plonk this back in. Hold Alt, copy. I'll keep the automation in there for now, shall I? Let's have a listen. Let's scrap it for now because I think we've already done it once and twice is maybe too much. But who knows? We can go back and many a times, as it's a bit like building a jigsaw where the picture changes shape, and sometimes the jigsaw pieces will change shape because the picture changes shape, and you have to kind of take stuff out again and put them back in the right place again, or the new place, which is the right place. So I love that about producing. I love that as the track becomes a bit more exciting or different, then you're like, oh well, that's not working now, so maybe I need to do this analogy. Right, okay. How's this sounding again as I listen? Okay, so I think I'm going to move this to read now, which basically saves it, and it will play it every time. But I think we're starting a bit too early on the cutoff here, so I'm gonna shift this a bit, and let's see how that sounds. I'm going to move this so it's slightly, you can hear it slightly as it goes. Let's try that. Try again. No, that was just me being silly on the keyboard. Okay. I think, as you'll see as well, as it's getting louder, sorry, as the frequency's changing, it's naturally getting louder as well, I think. So have a look at this bar here. Yeah, I mean, it's not noticeably so much, but higher frequencies are a lot louder, or a lot more discernible, at least. So I'm just going to cut that off slightly as it gets to the top, just so we don't get overawed by this synth. Bit of trial and error here. Yeah, that's got a nice little flow to it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there for today. Am I a bit too early stopping? I'm going to stop quite soon. Okay, I'm going to take a kick out there. And for that last beat, I'm going to put a sample in there somewhere. I don't know what I'm going to use yet. I might use a really trashy snare. Or one of my jungle sounds that you might have heard. But I'm just going to leave that there for now, just because I want something dramatic there to sort of mark it. It might be a reverb, or it might be something that I use. I think next episode I'm going to go over a bit more how I use my reverbs. I like Valhalla reverbs, absolutely love them. They're more of an instrument to me than a reverb. They're beautiful, beautiful things, and I'll go into that. I'm going to look at some Sound Toys plugins that I like using. English company, absolutely brilliant, amazingly creative tools that are really going to kind of take this to a more sort of packaged sound, I suppose. At the moment, it's all very raw, it's all very logic-y, I suppose you could say. But I just want to kind of create my own stamp on it, and I think using some third-party plugins or using creatively Logic plugins, you can kind of get away from the workstation a bit and put your kind of identity on it. So what have we got then? So I feel like we've got enough energy here to get into the chorus at least. I think I'm going to record a vocal, or at least a guide vocal, because at the end of the day I want to keep the energy of the lyric and the song really important, and I need to keep that in the forefront of my mind actually going forward. And if I become a bit too engrossed in the sound of the synthesizers and the drum machines, I might lose track of what the melody's doing. And the melody is king, or the lyrics and the melody together is king, and I need to work around that as well. So I've got enough of a framework of sounds. I've got my sort of like, I've got my kick, I've got my nice hard kick, I've got my clicks, I've got my sort of Metropolis synth, I suppose, James Blake synth we'll call it, and I've got my main riff. And I don't need too many more elements than that. I want to be creative with these elements enough to make them even more well, put it this way, it's for me, it's more important to be creative with what you have rather than adding an endless amount of elements to try and substitute or to try and kind of polish more what you have. I'm not really explaining this very well, but what I'm trying to say is that make use of what you have. Try and be empirical. Try and be minimal with what you have, but use your knowledge of effects and automation and all the studio things you can do to manipulate existing sounds to create the excitement rather than pushing a sound upon sound. So there's lots of things we can do. We can add, like I said, these reverbs. We can add some crunch. We can add some more automation, some more filter sweeps. We can add some delays, of course. We can add some filter. We can add some filter sweeping in terms of specific frequencies, for example, rather than shelving like we've done. So there's lots we can do with what we already have, and that's what I'm saying is if we put a vocal on what we have already, and then we can have a look at what we have again with the vocal on and go, right, how can I dance around this vocal by using reverbs this time and delays, and to create a really exciting verse before we go in the chorus. And I think that's going to really set us up for the chorus, and it will give us much more direction about where the song is heading and how it's going. I think it's going fairly well at the moment. I mean, we still haven't done a huge amount of stuff, but we've put all the thinking in place to make sure that what we've got is relevant and is going to work. And like I said, it's really important to get the vocal and the melody done next time so that we don't deviate too far from the track, and we're sensible in the choices we make production-wise whilst being empathetic to the track. So join me for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it made sense, and please subscribe because I'm going to be making more of these, and it's going to get much more fun as we go through the track. Like I said, lots of Sound Toys plugins, lots of interesting third-party things coming up. Have a check out of my music as well if you haven't already on the other videos, and please leave a comment if you want to open up some conversation about production and all the beautiful things that happen with music making. And thanks, and bye for now. Take care.